Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes podcast. I'm Bert Lepore. He's Sammy of Monte Carlo. We're hanging here with Angry Mike D, and we talk about music, movies, and so much more.
Hey guys, welcome to Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes. This week we have an episode called The Replacements. We're going to talk about people who came in the band, replace another member for whatever reason, and so we're going to say if it's better, just as good, or worse. So I'm going to start off with the first one here. It's going to go me, Ahmed, Damo, Mike D. I'm going to go in order from what I see on my computer here. And I'm going to start it off with Motley Crue, John Corabi. He replaces Vince Neil in like 92. He's there for a couple of years. They released one album with him. And I got to say, I think Corabi is great. I thought that album they did with him was great. But maybe they should have called it something different than Motley Crue. So for me, I don't want to say thumbs up or thumbs down. I'm going to go in between and say it's good. It's real good. Ahmed?
I'm going to say it was good. It was just different. I definitely think that they should have used Hooligan's Holiday as the name of the band. I think that would have been able to find its audience if it had a different name to it. But if you ask anybody about that, there's not one person who will say that album's whack or that lineup was whack. Everybody pretty much agrees. The problem is that Motley Crue is Vince Neil, Tommy Lee, Mick Mars, and Nikki Sixx. That's just it.
Yeah.
Yep. Davo?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's easy to say, hindsight and everything, that they should have changed the name, but you gotta figure, right? Their peers, two bands that came before them, Van Halen and AC/DC, both had new singers, and they were wildly successful.
Yes.
So you got to figure, okay, we'll get rid of our singer, we'll get a new guy, and we're just going to be, just be like seamless, So I don't really fault them for that, but I will say that, man, I did love that record just as much as like Shout at the Devil or the first one. Like I definitely put that in my top 3 favorite records from them, but it does sound bad. It's like a totally different band. Yeah, I would put like I don't think they were better, they weren't worse. It was pretty much on par for the course. I think if Vince was still in the band, they would have had the same success rate. It wouldn't have been
right,
better or worse.
Yep. Mike D.
I don't know. Like as the years go, it's like I kind of even sour on Vince, but I don't know. Once, like back in the day, once Vince left, that was it. I was done with Motley Crue, so I didn't even give it a chance. I didn't hear it till years later.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I didn't think it was terrible. It just didn't have that, same feeling. And like I said, I'm not a fan of the whole chipmunk voice of Vince Neil now. It's hard for me to take that, but I don't know. To me, it's like sacrilege on something like that. Lead singers are tough. It's really tough to replace a lead singer.
See, the first 2 Motley Crue albums are it for me. By Theater of Pain, I started to kind of, drift a little bit. I mean, I learned to love that album. By Girls, 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 it was just a song here, a song there. And then from that point on, that's, where I was. But it didn't matter because for me, the Motley Crue always was, those 4, the original 4 with those 2 albums. It's like that type of sound. See, I wanted Shout at the Devil Part 2 when it came time for Theater of Pain. So I was that guy. And yeah, what you were saying about, well, people before like AC/DC and Van Halen tried it, but I don't think, well, I don't know about AC/DC, but for Van Halen, if you look at their story from the jump, they were trying to just like they were having problems with Dave. So the fact that they got 6 albums out of that was, a miracle. Yeah. Motley Crue from the jump was just like, it's the 4 of us, we're a gang, and that's how it is. And when that didn't happen, it was kind of like, okay, now it's weird. So they always were in for trying to be like the 4 of them, and then let the wheels fall off that way.
Yeah, that's true.
So we all pretty much agree that Corabi's great. The album Corabi's great, but it don't really sound like Motley Crue. So thumbs up to Corabi, but maybe call the band something else. We all good with that?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Yep.
All right, Ahmed, we're going to go to you next. Who you got on your pick?
Van Halen. I gotta say Van Halen. As Van Halen's in my top 4. The first 6 albums are, definitely the best. But I will say that when 5150 came out in 86, I did like it. It was different, but I liked it. I thought it was going to be more guitar driven since Sammy was playing on it. I knew of his songs like, I Can't Drive 55 and stuff like that. So I was surprised that it was a little bit more pop than rock. But yeah, I like Van Hagar, but not better than Van Halen. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you'll say just as good, just different.
They're better. They're better as the original 4, but they're still good.
Right.
I got to put my neck out to the original 4 just because that sound, that vibe, that energy, like to me, that'll always be Van Halen. But it's just like, I'm not the type to be like, oh, wow, Van Hagar, I can't listen to that. Like some people just won't on Van Hagar.
Right.
They just won't.
Right.
Mike loves Van Hagar.
What about Sharon? What do you think of Sharon as replacement for Van Hagar, for Sammy Hagar?
Oh,
I think he was fucked.
Right.
Walking into a bad situation. Like, he I thought he sounded like a watered down Sammy, to be honest with you.
He did sound Sammy.
I love Sharon too.
I did give that album a chance because I was curious, and I'm like, it's not bad. I'm like, I could find my way to it, and then I saw some live performance where they were I think ABC used to do an in concert thing later on in the 90s and stuff like that, and there was an episode with Gary Sharon singing live, and I saw him doing Panama, and because I like that song Without You. And they did that song, and I'm like, I could get down with this. But again, he was number 3, man. It was hard coming back after that. I'm like, after accepting Sammy, now I have to deal with another guy.
Yeah.
They should have just swallowed it and got Dave back, because that album is, talk to any Van Halen fan, they're gonna be like, oh my God, that's the worst piece of shit. It's not that bad. It's really not that bad, but there's no way you're gonna make anybody else see that.
Yeah. Yep. Damo?
It was definitely like a different band, but I mean, I think, definitely musically, it definitely brought them to a different level. They were more like they're like more polished, I think. Sammy was a billion times better vocally than Dave, and he's still like a good showman. But Dave was something different, man. And it's like just had a cool factor. He was like one of the greatest frontmen of all time. Not one of the greatest singers, but he does have like a very distinct voice.
It was a character voice.
Yeah. And that's probably why Sammy never even attempted to do like a lot of those Dave songs, just because it really has like his personality all over.
Yeah,
so,
his talking
but I don't know, man. I mean, technicality wise, I think probably the band was better, but I don't know, man. I it does tick me off a lot of when people kind of shit on that, because some of those songs were really, really good. When you really go down the list and look at it, they're just different. Or like it's sort of like turned into
as good as a Nickelback song, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but guess what though? I think they had more hits with Sammy.
Oh, they did, and every record went to number 1. They sold more records with them,
so it's hard to argue that point.
Well, okay. Yeah. I mean, on paper, but I mean, think about it. You got Van Halen 1 and 5150s in the same box. Which one are you putting on?
Oh, I'm going
Van Halen 1.
Van Halen 1. Yeah.
See, that's what it all comes down to. That right there.
I mean, I hardly ever listen to the Sammy Hagar stuff, but when I hear a song on the radio, I like this stuff. They definitely knew how to write hit singles. With Dave, they weren't really going for that. It was sort of like a hard rock journey at that point. But I don't think that if he made the band like better, I don't think they were worse. It was, again, I think it was sort of just like
still good.
Yeah.
And what about Sharon?
See,
Yeah, I wasn't feeling that
It's
at all.
hard after.
That's the first time I saw them live too. I mean, again, yeah, I thought the same thing Ahmed did. I thought he was sort of like Sammy Light almost, kind of like he had that same kind of tone to his voice. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's when Sammy left or got fired, that really took me by surprise. I was like really like shocked because they always seemed like super tight, those four, and then you saw Roth come back with them at the MTV,
yes, I was excited about that.
So
I was
that's
all
what we
into
thought.
that. I'm like, this is two of my favorite bands. Kiss just got back together. Van Halen's getting back together. I was all hyped.
I know. Then that imploded, and it is what it is. History now, but
I became Diet Pepsi free with Gary Sharon.
Yeah. Right.
Mike D, what you got?
Well, I got into Van Halen late. So, and this is weird because I kind of got into David Lee Roth before I got into Van Halen. And then when I got into Van Halen, and not even got into him, but when I noticed him, Sammy Hagar was already in the band. But, then when I went back and listened to the Dave stuff, I'm like, man, I was like, there's just no comparison. I'm like, they went from, your band with David Lee Roth to your parents' band with Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
I just couldn't listen to Sammy Hagar from that point on.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And,
they became way more commercial.
Right. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I can't take Sammy Hagar's voice. It's just that some of the guys with that gravelly voice I could take, I can't.
Well, what about in his solo stuff? Do you like his solo stuff?
Not really. I mean, I Can't Drive 55 is a good song, and that's really all I really know of him. But I might have heard something else. I don't know, but I'm not a fan.
He had a big song in Over the Top.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, I remember now.
Sammy's the king of soundtrack music. It all sounds like soundtrack music.
Yeah.
So for me, Van Halen with David Lee Roth, great. Van Halen with Sammy Hagar, good, but a little more adult contemporary. Van Halen with Sharon, even if they were good songs, it's hard to get over the Dave then Sammy. So that's two tough hurdles. I would say Without You song's a great song. The rest of the album's okay. It's okay. So, I mean, I'm going to go around and see. I'm going to say thumbs up to Dave, thumbs up to Sammy or in between, thumbs down for Gary. Gary didn't work. Ahmed?
Thumbs up for Dave. Sammy, I'm going to put it in the middle because it was a little too pop for me. And Gary Sharon, he's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Down.
Damo?
Yeah.
Same, pretty much same as Ahmed. Mike D?
All right. Well,
for Dave, down and down. There you go.
He double dipped. He double dipped at the end.
So that's what we think of the Van Halen change-ups. Okay, Damo, you're next.
I got Brian Johnson. And I mean, when I got into AC/DC, it was Brian Johnson. I mean, I didn't even know when I was a kid. I didn't even know there was a Bon Scott. I had no idea. It's all you see is a guy with the Jeff cap, and seeing the songs, the videos and MTV. It was a Brian Johnson. Then when I got really into him, then I knew all about the Bon Scott stuff. It was kind of similar to the Van Halen situation a little bit, where Bon was sort of like, kind of like he had the swagger and and like the cool vibe like David Lee Roth did. But I mean, Brian Johnson wasn't like as polished as like Sammy. He was sort of like kind of like maybe like Bon Scott's like nicer brother, a little bit
cousin.
Yeah, right. It's like he's like cleaner cousin, but
yeah.
But
they were the two guys in the Christmas Carol or Christmas Story growing up.
Yeah, the bullies, yeah. But I really do like both eras a lot, and I mean, one of probably my favorite AC/DC record is "Flick of the Switch," and
wow,
I don't think anyone.
No, I wouldn't pick that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anyone who
Who would
really
pick
is
that
into
record?
Yeah, but I love that album. It's
That's like 83.
83 I came out. Yeah. So
Was
it was sort of
Bedlam on
like,
that? That's on Bedlam or something? Was that on that?
nah, I think that was on the one after that. Bedlam
Okay.
in Belgium.
Yeah.
So
maybe-
it was sort of like them trying to get back to like a rawer sound like they had with like the Bon Scott era. It was more like, I mean,
After
Well,
coming off of Back in Black and what was the other one?
for those about to rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those ones were pretty serious.
they were great.
Yeah, but it was like big production, Mutt Lang and everything. So Flick of the Switch was sort of like kind of them trying to get back to basics, to strip down production and everything. Not that the AC/DC was like a super produced band anyway, but it just kind of had more of like that Bon Scott vibe, But it's sort of like two different bands in a way, maybe not. I don't know. It's maybe slightly more mature, but I kind of prefer the Brian Johnson stuff. So I thought he made the band better. And I love that vocal sound. I mean, I know it's like hit or miss for some people. Some people actually despise it. But I love that. Like, sounds like he's like gargling with razors.
Dan, has he ever done a song where he doesn't use that voice?
I think on someone of, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, there is one. There's a chill one. I'm trying to think of it. It came out later on.
Yeah. Something in New York City. Safe and no, maybe not that one.
Feel safe. No, it wasn't that one. I'm gonna think about it later. I know it.
In his band previous, Jordy, I think he used his natural voice.
Yeah, he actually could sang, songs.
Yeah.
sang.
But you got to figure like that Bon Scott stuff was pretty friggin' high too. So for him to attempt that high to sing that way, he had to use probably a register of his voice that he never really used, and that's probably what it sounded like,
Yeah, both singers are really hard to copy. Both of them are really hard to copy. They're both pretty unique,
Many tried though.
Oh, they still are trying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Damo, better with Brian Johnson, just as good or not as good?
Yeah, I mean, I prefer both. I
They're
do
just as
not
good,
dislike
right?
one or
Yeah.
the other, but I like the Brian Johnson era better. So I mean, and they had one of the biggest rock, probably the biggest rock album of all time is Back in Black.
Yeah,
as far as sales and shit go, and who doesn't know any of those songs? So I would say better.
Okay, Mike D.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a huge AC/DC fan. I don't dislike them, but I think I like Bon Scott better. As far as I think he had more personality going on, where it was kind of like Brian Johnson, just kind of the same thing over and over again. To me, I mean, they're great music to get charged up to. I don't own anything by AC/DC because I hear them on the radio all the time.
Yeah,
but I have no problem with either one of them. I like them both about the same, but Bon Scott a little bit more edges out for me.
Okay, Ahmed.
Yeah, I'm a co-sign on that. This is one of those rare times where you could go either way, and you're gonna get a great album, good songs, either way. Yeah, but I think I lean a little bit more on the Bon Scott stuff because my favorite album is High Voltage. And again, I'm not the biggest AC/DC fan, but I do like them. I like there's always been that big beef, Highway to Hell or Back in Black. See, I choose Highway to Hell.
Yeah, that's tough.
So
definitely a tough.
Yeah, yeah, that's hard. Like, yeah, that one's
it's close,
it's even.
So you're gonna go with Bon Scott.
Yeah.
Okay. I like Bon Scott for the swagger, and I like Brian Johnson for the grit. Both are great. I'm gonna go right down the middle, just as good. I enjoy both. So just as good for me, just as good pretty much for Damo. Or no, you want Brian Johnson instead, right? Or just as good?
Yeah.
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson.
So just as good, Damo, Brian Johnson. Mike D, just as good, right? And Ahmed, Bon Scott. Okay. We're gonna move on.
No, I kind of led a little more towards Bon Scott, though.
It's close.
I did say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, so Mike's gonna be Bon Scott then. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty. I don't think it's. I think we're all of us. We might prefer one or the other, but it's pretty close.
What about Axel?
I thought he did.
He did a good job.
He did a tour.
Well, I didn't mention him because he didn't
Record a record. Yeah.
do any records, but I thought he did an amazing job.
He did a great job.
You know what? I don't think I heard. Yeah, I did hear some of that. That was pretty good.
He was
Yeah.
great, and he was like a mixture of the two of them.
Both.
Yeah,
you know?
that was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
It made sense. Like when you say it, it's just like, huh? But
Yeah.
then when you listen to it, you're like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get, because I heard them do Rosie, and I'm like, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. It makes sense.
Yeah, I thought he definitely pulled it off. Mike D, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to go with one of my all-time faves, man. Faith No More.
Oh shit!
I knew it.
Damo knew it.
Yep.
Damo knew it.
You know, making the move from Chuck Mosley to Mike Patton. And, you know, I think Mosley probably would have still been with him if he wasn't so erratic. And you know, there was times where Mosley would just get on the stage and do nothing. He would just hum, or, you know, if he wasn't in the mood or he was pissed off, he would just sit there. So I guess it got to the point where you gotta go. And they replaced him with Patton, who, oh my God, what a move. I mean, Patton can sing his ass off. Patton, he could just do about anything, you know. Probably one of the best metal vocalists around in that case.
Yeah, guy could do anything.
And, you know, I remember I bought the real thing when it first came out. This is great. And I went back and I bought We Care a Lot the next day or something like that. And I'm like, wow, this is fucking bad. Oh my God. Like, I was taken back
It's hard.
that I actually put the tape up to a radiator and melted it a little bit, brought it back and said, this doesn't work so good.
Smart.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like years later, I dared to listen to it again. And you know what, man? It's not the same band, but Mosley's got his own style. And man, he put out 2 really good albums too. So, you know, I prefer Patton, but, you know, don't diss Mosley because there's some good stuff going on his.
So Patton gets the thumbs up though.
Oh, absolutely. It's hard to beat Pat.
Yep. Damo?
I'm not a Faith No More connoisseur, just not, you know, for no reason other than I never really gave him a shot. So I think the only thing I've heard from the original guy was like maybe something on Beavis and Butthead years ago. And it was like totally different. Like I had no idea that it was actually really the band. So just with that, you know,
the band kind of sounds the same if you listen to it. The keyboard sounds and everything, you know, they kind of do their little thing there.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going with
Patton, right?
Like
Patton,
yeah,
definitely Patton. I remember when the real thing came out in 1990. I was all about that album.
Yep.
That was one of those tapes that just stayed in the tape deck.
Mm-hmm.
That there are so many great songs. Zombie Eaters, Surprise You're Dead, Woodpeckers from Mars, their cover of War Pigs.
Yeah.
You could probably hear that just as much as the original.
yeah.
Chuck Mosley, I don't really know too much about him. I've heard We Care a Lot. I heard that album enough to know that I like it, but between the two, I just like Patton a little bit more because he's a little bit more animated. You know, I like that, and he can do anything like vocal wise. You know, he can do the easy, the Commodores, and then he can do the heavy stuff and the light stuff. So they definitely raised the bar with adding him. And as far as I'm concerned, I like that version of Faith No More better anyway.
Yeah. I'm going to agree. Mike Patton all the way. Not even a shot. It's not even fair. Mosley's cool. He had his little thing going on, but they never would have broke with Mosley. Fucking never. So Patton, man. Whew. And it's you know, I don't want to say it's a shame because Patton does his own deal. Like he does what he wants to do, which is great. But I wish he did more of the singing stuff because of course he's so good. He can do any
His
stuff.
Faith No More album was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, yeah, I like him when he's singing more. From Out of Nowhere, great album. I mean, great album. I think everybody who had that, we said it many times on this thing. Everybody
Great
had
album,
that
but
year.
for me, it's Angel Dust all day, any day.
Angel Dust is pretty damn good too. They're the two records. Okay.
Well, King for a Day is good.
King for a Day is
I
good.
like that.
I
like them
love
all.
King for a Day.
Yes.
King for a Day.
And now, I mean, even Album of the Year was pretty good. So yeah, they didn't put out crap.
No. But yeah, for me, From Out of Nowhere and Angel Dust are probably the two. Okay, so moving on to the next one, I'm gonna have my next pick. Bruce Dickenson replacing Paul Deano. Yeah, man, this is a good one because I love Deano. I think Deano is great, but I don't think they would have broke as big as they did without Bruce. I think Bruce. I'm gonna have to give the nod to Bruce on this, just because Bruce made it big, and then they came in with Blaze Bailey, and it wasn't so good, and then Bruce came back, and is what it is now. But I'm gonna go with Bruce. I think Bruce was the better choice. Ahmed.
Definitely Bruce Dickinson. And now Iron Maiden's like in my top 4, so I have a lot to say about these guys. But I do like the Paul Deano records too. Those first two
Great.
Maiden albums are kind of punk sounding, and I kind of had that vibe to it. I like those albums a lot. I didn't really appreciate them till later on, because when I got down with Iron Maiden, they were on a Piece of Mind, and the Flight of Icarus video was on MTV when MTV used to have, before they had Headbangers Ball, they had Heavy Metal Mania, and that's one of the videos that they would always show, and I'm like, yo, this band Iron Maiden, and Bruce with that. That's when I really got into all that. A lot of people can't take that type of singing or whatever, but I thought it was cool. Seventh Son of the Seventh Son is probably my favorite Maiden album.
It's a great record. Yep. So you're gonna give the nod to Bruce then?
Yeah.
Damo.
Yeah, it's even if they stopped after Peace of Mind, like 2 albums each, it's like Bruce, hands down. I mean, that's like the prototypical metal singer. I do kind of like the I do like the first 2 Maiden records with Paul Deano, but it's just like his voice isn't like exciting like Bruce's voice. Like Bruce's voice is kind of like attacks you, man. It's just like
Bruce could tell a story.
Yeah,
it's Saltines versus Ritz.
Yeah. I mean, Paul Deano's got he's got like that kind of like punk attitude, but yeah, Bruce is just like, it's totally different and better for me. And then I actually had Blaze Bailey on my list just to kind of mix it up a little bit, and yes, huge thumbs down there. Even though I actually really did like the X Factor when it came out.
It was a good record. I just wish it was. I didn't like the mix.
Is that the album Future Reels on? Because to be honest,
that's the one after.
That's the one after. Okay. The one after, that's the worst record, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I fell off as soon as he came on board. I'm just like, I can't.
He didn't fit. He did not fit. I mean, they should have got like the guy from Halloween.
That's what I said.
Mike Kiske.
And that's what me and my friend have talked about that for the longest time. As soon as Halloween came out, God forbid anything ever happened to Bruce Dickinson, he would be the best guy to take.
Yeah, he was in the running. That was the rumor. So Blaze was just like, man, huge thumbs down on that one.
Yep. So nod to Bruce, thumbs down to Blaze. Mike D.
It's where I got into them around Seventh Son. So Dickinson to me was like the only singer I knew, and then I found out later on that they had it on the first 2 albums, a different singer. I wouldn't even listen to him, and I don't think I heard him till maybe the past like 10 years ago, maybe. But man, Deano stuff isn't bad. It's actually pretty damn good, and in a certain sense, it's like, where would they have gone with him? I kind of think they could have been big with him. I mean, Bruce kind of brought them to a different level, and he had the more storytelling and everything like that. He was a little more operatic in his singing. But, truth of it, I think Iron Maiden's covers made them more than their songs, because I think people bought them because of their covers. They didn't get radio airplay. They weren't on MTV, really. So what else did you have to go by then? Maybe luckily seeing them in concert, or just, wow, this is an awesome looking album cover.
But they always played the large crowds, always.
Yeah.
I mean, the album cover sucked me in, but then I loved it,
Yeah, I think, the album covers definitely was like the attention getter. Definitely reeled people in, and then once you got in, you're in.
Oh
Probably the most popular band with album covers. I would say.
think, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would think so, yeah.
Which could be another show.
Yeah. We got that coming with Greg Gorey. We're talking about metal album covers, so that's in a couple of weeks. Mike D. So Bruce Deano, was Bruce a better replacement?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely did more. Is he a great replacement? Yes, So it's tough because Deano had some really good stuff. But I'm going Bruce on this. This is the first singer I knew. A majority of the stuff is with him.
I'm mad. Moving on to your pick.
Are we still on singers or any member?
Anybody. Could be anybody.
Any member of the band?
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna go with
I know where you're going.
Eric Carr.
Well, I think we should save Kiss for last because there's a list.
Kiss for last. Okay.
Yeah, we can go through all of them. You know what I mean?
All right.
I thought we were going to escape Kiss somehow, man.
Never. Not with this.
Never. There's no chance.
There's comments on the show, and there's too much juice to it. There's no way.
There's a Kiss clause up in this bitch.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm outnumbered.
Yeah.
Let me think then. We'll go Pantera.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Terry Glaze versus Phil Anselmo. Phil.
There's no question about it. Yeah.
There's nothing to think about.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't even think I've ever heard anything before Phil or anything like that. And I think they're quoted to have like was there 3 albums before Cowboys were from
I Am the Night, Projectiles in the Jungle, and something else.
Yeah. And then they did the one record with Phil that was kind of like a glam record.
Yeah. Nah, dude, that was like more like a Priest record.
Oh, yeah.
Far Beyond Driven is my favorite Pantera album. I know a lot of people say Vulgar Display of Power, but coming off of Vulgar Display of Power going into Far Beyond Driven, there's a lot of good songs on that album. A lot.
Yeah, well, I think the 3 in a row. Cowboys, Vulgar, and Far Beyond Driven. That's all I need. Them three are the
same here
for me. So no question about it. You're going with Phil. Damo.
Yeah. I mean, I actually had the record I Am the Night. I bought it on vinyl, and then I'm selling it on eBay for like a shitload of money. But it's I mean, people look at how they looked. I mean, they weren't wearing like lipstick and looking like Poison. It was just your typical 80s metal look, with the spandex and shit like that. But they kind of, they sound like a hard rock metal band. They weren't like thrashy or whatever you want to call it, what they became later. So it was still like, it was just an 80s metal band. It was like nothing that really made them different from anyone else. But yeah, I mean, Phil came in, even the album Power Metal, which is definitely like a metal record. It kind of reminded me of like Priest era Painkiller type.
What was the
stuff,
slow song that was on that was really good? Do you remember that one?
I don't remember. There was a song called Pussy Tight that Dimebag bag, which was kind of funny. But the song Power Metal was pretty killer. But yeah, definitely, Phil like really stepped in and.
Oh, We'll Meet Again.
That was
a good tune. That was a good tune. That's what I was thinking of. Phil. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he made the band a million times better.
Absolutely. Mike D.
Oh, I'm not a huge Pantera fan, but I mean, I heard some of the early stuff, and that was just brutal.
Yeah.
So it's Phil all day.
Yeah, I don't think there's a comparison. To me, Pantera, even though Power Metal is kind of cool, Pantera wasn't Pantera for me until Cowboys from Hell, and then it ended with Far Beyond Driven. They were the 3. They were at that time, especially when music was changing. That was the one band that really survived in that kind of genre. And everybody wanted to be, everybody was singing Respect. Everybody wanted to be Pantera. That was in that vein. So yeah, Phil, there's no question. Phil's another guy. Phil could sing any style. Matter of fact, Mike just picked up. He gave me a little gift the other day. Picked me up that what was it, D minor?
N minor.
N
E
minor.
N minor.
Oh yeah.
N minor.
It's like his kind of like
Acoustic folk
like-
kind of. It's fucking great.
Cure type band is like goth.
It's very
Band or
well, the
something.
record that I got that Mike picked up for me, it's this like kind of acousticy folk sound thing, and his voice is so damn deep. But he's another guy. I don't want to compare him to Patton, but he's another guy that could really actually sing. He does all the heavy stuff, but he could actually fucking sing. You know, I mean, his voice is a little deep now, but the guy could actually sing. He just don't do the growly stuff. So,
Did you? I read on Blabbermouth. I don't know if you saw this. This was yesterday, where he said that he wants to make like a classic metal record where he uses his like Halford-esque voice.
if he could
I
still
don't
do
know
it,
if
that'd be
his-
great.
If he could
More
still
of his
do it.
Cowboys from Hell voice.
Yeah, I'll be all
which
right
was
with
sort
that.
of like, yes, you know, it would be cool if he could still do that. I mean,
Yeah,
I
his
don't
voice
know
is
if
so
he-
deep. His
if he
talking
can, but-
voice is deep. You know,
yeah.
It's
But he was a
crazy.
great singer, man. At one time, I mean, he could really belt it out. You know,
Oh,
those
yeah.
screams and shit like that.
Yeah, Damo, we're moving on to you.
Okay, I'm gonna go with something a little less predictable. William Duvall from Alice in Chains.
Okay.
Took my
Replaced,
pick.
Oh, was it?
Okay.
Yeah, he replaced Lane Staley. I mean, I guess you can't fault the band for wanting to continue on after a
Nah.
singer passes away. I don't fault them at all. The guy's not bad, and I do like some of the songs that they did with him, but he just, I don't know, man. I wish you replace a guy as a singer. I kind of wish, like, especially when somebody dies, maybe only in this case, but I wish they would just find like some sound alike guy.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of hard.
I kind of thought he had that same vibe.
Yeah, but
not.
it's hard to duplicate Lane. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, Lane Staley.
Well,
had like
give
that
him some smack
unique-
and he'll be lame.
Yeah, he was unique.
He had like that. He had like that eerie kind of eeriness to his voice and like that rasp. He had like a little grit to it. And the new guy is sort of like kind of like a cleaner voice. I don't know. Didn't really make them. He didn't make them better. He didn't really make them worse. I mean, it just
not as good.
I don't know. Yeah, just not as good. I mean, it's not like Blaze Bailey.
Yeah. Mike D.
I mean, I stayed away from listening to it for years because, like I said, it's tough with a new lead singer. And I love Alice in Chains. They were one of my favorite bands. And when I finally heard it, I was actually surprised. It's not that bad at all. It's actually pretty good. And I probably should be listening to more of it. But I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like once you lose that lead singer, it's hard to even get into them sometimes. I don't know.
Ahmed.
This one's kind of like Motley Crue for me, except it's a step above. I thought that the new singer was good, but again, I thought they should have changed the name. Changing the name just gives you more freedom.
Yeah.
Kind of like same thing with Halloween 3, man. If they would have called it Season of the Witch, then it would have found its audience better. It's just when you're locked in that title, people expect you to be that. I think the obvious choice would be to get a sound alike guy, get somebody like that. But how boring is that from the band? It's just like, we just had Lane. Lane's the best up Lane that we can have. We get somebody who's not as good as Lane, we're always going to be looking at this guy, expecting him to be that, and it's just going to be hard. So let's just get somebody who's maybe technically better, but sometimes better isn't always better.
Right.
But I'll always pick Lane. That's Alice in Chains for me. But I would still go see Alice in Chains. Like if they came around now or whatever, I'm not like, I can't go or something like that. And I was like that for a long time with Van Halen until Dave came back.
Yep.
I would
So-
go see them. Yeah, I mean, I would not go see them.
Some people
thing,
put
like-
up those walls and
Yeah.
just won't
Oh,
go
yeah,
because
I know.
they don't like a member of the band.
But when somebody dies, it's like
That's tough.
it's
Yeah.
kind of different.
It's definitely
I
tough.
mean,
Yeah.
they're still kind of Alice in Chains because I mean Jerry Cantrell did a lot of the writing, most of the
Yep.
writing,
Yeah,
And
and
singing.
he's half the voice. So
right?
well, that
so
was-
it still has that vibe still. So I mean, I don't know. I still kind of think it has that Alice in Chains feel to it, where it's like you could kind of pick up and still listen and know it's Alice in Chains, even if you kind of hear it on the radio. You're like, it sounds like Alice in Chains. Oh, this is Alice in Chains. Okay.
Yeah. So Mike pretty much said what I was going to say. I think to me, Lane had that spooky voice. It's just, if you ever listen to the tracks without the music, he's got this little weird shake on his voice. It's not even, I don't even know if it makes any sense, but near the end of his voice, would be like these weird shakes and stuff. And that just made some character.
I know what you mean.
Lane's voice had a lot of character. He's one of my favorites too.
Mhm.
But Alice in Chains, to be realistic, Lane added that character. But Alice in Chains to me is 40% Lane, 60% Jerry. Jerry's that sound. It's Jerry's sound. You listen to Jerry's solo stuff, it still reminds you somewhere of Alice in Chains. Jerry, to me, is the mastermind of that band. There's no doubt in
Yep.
my mind. So whatever
Yeah.
Jerry does, Jerry could get me doing it, and it's going to sound somewhat like Alice in Chains. It's Jerry's voice.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
it's a huge part of that sound.
So
Mhm.
is it just as good? It's pretty damn good still. It really is. It's not the original, but what is, So it's still pretty damn good. I prefer Lane, but the guy, the William Duvall guy, he does what he has to do, but it's all about Jerry for me.
He's the best replacement if someone was to step in.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
If you're going to go that way, I think they did a good job replacing it.
Where did he come from? Was he in a different band before?
He was in a touring
Yeah,
band.
I don't
with
really
them.
know his
He toured with them, I think, or toured with Jerry. Or
He did have his own band too. I can't remember the name.
So he was sort of like their second guitarist or third guitarist or whatever.
No, he just was.
I don't think he was that close to the band.
He just toured with them, and they were like, "Oh, we get along with this guy. This guy's good. He fits." That's probably what they just slipped him in, and he does play guitar too. So I mean, I guess it's a plus
Yeah.
somewhere. Okay, Mike D, next pick.
Well, let's go with Pink Floyd
What
from
member?
Sid Barrett to David Gilmour.
Oh my
The
god,
lead
this is
singer.
easy for me.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, this is an easy one. I mean, Sid Barrett stuff wasn't bad, but I mean, I think when Gilmour took over the vocals, man, it just changed them into a different band,
Yeah.
Just like they went from like kind of being this like psychedelic kind of, flowery sound,
they never would have lasted.
it's just
They
this.
never would've lasted.
No, this just.
Mhm.
I don't even know. This mellow, just chilled out, like progged out rock music, just totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go with Gilmour any day. And I'm not even a fan of listening to Barrett stuff, but it's not terrible. But they would have never survived with him. Never.
No, I agree. Damo,
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I mean, there's a lot of people that actually prefer, the early stuff with Sid Barrett because it was like really true like psychedelia music,
Mhm.
and then it just became like a mellow rock band, you
Yeah.
know, which is a little more relatable for me. So that's what I go with.
Ahmed.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go David Gilmour. I first off, I'm not the biggest Pink Floyd fan, but I do like Pink Floyd. My Pink Floyd flower kind of opened up later on in life, when things didn't have to be as heavy as much. I gave that Uma Guma. Is that what it's called?
Something like that.
Umaguma, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was Umaguma. Yeah.
Uma Guma. Anyway, I gave that album a chance, and I just couldn't.
Yeah. Shit's
I
weird.
tried to be as as faded as possible, and it still didn't work. But
Yeah.
I can't get down with all the Sid Barrett stuff. Yeah, definitely, because I like "Wish You Were Here." That's my favorite Pink Floyd. And
It's a great record. Yeah. Um, David Gilmour all the way for me. Like you guys said, they wouldn't have lasted. They came out with that, a trippy album or two or three, whatever the fuck they put out, and it was neat. Could I listen to it all the time? Hell no. With Gilmour, it became more chill music, more feel. His voice was cool. Yeah, there's no comparison for me. It's definitely David Gilmour. And that brings me to the next one for me. Now this is going to be, I don't know if you consider this a replacement, but pretty much the singer from Rage Against the Machine quit, and they grabbed Chris Cornell and became Audio Slave. So, I mean, my history with my thoughts on this. I thought Audio Slave was a great band. Audio Slave was like, I don't even know. It's like they commercialized Soundgarden as much, more with some Zeppelin kind of sound and riffs in there, maybe. So I'm gonna say Chris Cornell, Audio Slave with the guys from Rage, fucking great. I went from a band that I really didn't like to a band that I loved, especially the first album. I would say I loved. The second and third album were okay. The first album was.
They did 3 albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember how many they did. If it was 2 or 3.
Yep. Ahmed, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna stay with Zach. See, this is one of them situations where I'm like, if you're going to do it, this is how you do it, and it worked well, because I did like Audio Slave. It wasn't like I didn't like Audio Slave, but if I'm putting the two next to each other, I'm picking, Rage all day. But I think like this is possibly how it could have happened for Motley Crue or Alice in Chains. If you would have just changed the name and give it its own identity, these songs would have found their way to the radio or wherever a little bit quicker. So I think that was one of the situations where it really worked, in the same way as the Van Halen stuff and the AC/DC stuff, just different.
Yep. Damo?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I don't really dislike either band, and wasn't really like a huge fan. I was kind of like a casual fan of both. But man, I don't know. That's actually like pretty tough. Because I do casually like both.
If you had to pick one,
I'm
Rage or Audio.
Yeah, I'm like in the middle there. I gotta go with I'm a Tom Morello fan though. I do like everything that he does.
Yeah.
But man, I think the slight edge goes to the melodic stuff, Audio Slave. I gotta give it the slight edge.
So we got Ahmed went with Rage, you went with Audio Slave. Mike D.
This is weird for me, because in a world like just say they're just the same name and they just changed the singer. To me, it's like Rage Against the Machine was like a heavy metal rap band, and the first album was like they were just killer on that album. Like I thought some of that stuff Morello was doing, I didn't even know it was guitar. I thought that was turntable on some of that.
Yeah, I know.
But after that, I think the next couple of albums, it just became redundant and everything kind of sounded the same. And so, but I don't know. It's like Audio Slave only had that one really great album. And to me, it's a different band. Like if Cornell was rapping in it, then maybe I would give it a different comparison. But he's singing like he did on Soundgarden to me. So it was like Soundgarden light more than, Rage Against the Machine.
If you had to pick one,
I mean, I would go Rage then. To me, it was different. It wasn't, Soundgarden light, even though I liked Audio Slave a lot. I liked that first album a lot. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know, for what it was back then, man, Rage was kind of original.
Yep. So we're split down the middle on that one. That was a pretty good one. It was interesting. Ahmed, who's your next pick?
Randy Rose to Jakey Lee.
Ooh, yeah.
Jakey Lee. And I love Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman, let me just say. But the Ultimate Sin is my favorite Ozzy album. Like Bark and Bark at the Moon too. Bark at the Moon as a song is, I think that's my favorite Ozzy song, period. So I could hold that against all of the Randy songs on the first 2 albums. So Jakey Lee for me.
Let's make us even bigger. Out of all the Ozzy guitar players, not counting Iommi and Black Sabbath, who is the one Ozzy guitar player you would pick?
Jakey Lee.
I like clear
Zach
across
Wild.
the board.
Yeah, I like Zach Wild. I liked No Rest for the Wicked out of his block or whatever you want to call it. Was probably one of my favorite. No More Tears was all right. I didn't really like it that much. It was cool. But yeah, I like Jakey Lee. His 2 albums the best.
Damo, open it up now to all Ozzy guitar players. Who's your favorite replacement?
Jake is one of my favorite guitar players of all time. He's easily in my top 3. I love everything that guy's done, man. He's just well, he was cool. He's a great showman, you know, amazing player. You definitely know that it's him. You know, Randy's one of the greatest guitar players of all time. I mean, but like to my ears, I prefer Jake, and I prefer him a million times over Zach. I do like some of the, you know, Zach too, but I think Jake is just all around, man. Just like such an underrated, underappreciated guitar player. And I do prefer those 2 Jake albums too. And I love Badlands. Badlands one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Jake all day.
All right, Mike D, Ozzy guitar player.
I can't really say it any different. I mean, I'm going to go with Jake also. And like Damian said, that Badlands out, man, that first one was kick ass.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I love Jake. I love Randy. I think I'm going to go with Zach. I don't know. I think maybe a little heavier. Yeah, I'm going to go with Zach.
I would have went with Zach, but there's one thing that little
Ping?
at the end of every
Pick harmonics. Harmonics.
A little too much.
That annoys me. Like I think he's great. I don't hate him, but there's that little it's enough just to drive me nuts after a while.
I think that he doesn't do it enough. That's what I love about
really?
The Ping Man. Yeah. It's so tough with Ozzy because everybody he's had playing guitar was great. But I'm gonna go with Zach. I'm gonna go with the long run. I'm gonna go with Zach. Moving on to Damian. What's your next pick?
I'm going with a bass player.
All right.
And for a replacement guy, actually, might as well just throw the other guy in the mix too. Jason Newstead. I think he came in. He came in at the worst possible time for anybody to join a band, and you can't blame him, man. I mean, he did the best that he could, and you know, he had enormous shoes to fill. And I think the band is they kind of, you know, it's been widely documented that they kind of like really ribbed him like a lot and didn't really treat him that good. But he's always been my favorite member of the band too. And I love the Black Album, and Justice for All is my favorite Metallica record. That's when I really got into them when that came out. And then the other stuff I'm not really that into, but I like Jason Newstead, man. I think he definitely man, it's tough to say if he made the band better because Cliff Burton's one of the, you know, he's like a bass god, you know. So but it was definitely like seamless, I think, you know. Now the other guy, Robert Trujillo,
really,
I'm not a fan of him at all.
Wow.
I just don't think he fit, you know. You know, he seems like a nice guy. He's an amazing player, probably technically the best, you know, that they've ever had. I think even better than Cliff in a way. I think he's dude's a monster. But I just, you know, the way he moves on stage and everything.
You don't like the crab walk?
Nah, don't fit.
I hate it.
I guess it fits more with you know, Suicidal.
It don't fit with Metallica at all. It don't.
Nah, and I don't know, man. I'm not really. I didn't really dig him too much, even though I do like the records that they done with him. You know, I like the 2 last Metallic records, but I don't think it was a good fit.
all in all, Jason's your pick, though.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Mike D, Metallica bass players. Who's your go-to? Who's your
I
guy?
mean, this is tough because it's like my go-to album didn't have bass on it from them, which is Injustice for All. And I mean, listen to the stuff with Cliff, man. He's great. So it's kind of tough, like, because for me, it's like the further Metallica got away from Injustice for All, the worse they got. But looking back at it, I mean, it's all good, but I'm going with Cliff.
Mike D going with
and
Cliff.
I don't even hate Robert Trio. So is that how do you say it, by the way? Anyway, is it Trujillo or Trio?
Trilio,
Trio,
maybe. I don't know.
I
don't know if
think
it's
got
Trujillo might be that.
Trujillo.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Ahmed,
Cliff. Although I do like Jason a lot. I like the Newstead album that he did.
Yeah, that was good. Metal.
Yeah, that
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it was pretty
you
good.
should check it out. Check it out.
Who's the rest of the band on that? Anybody?
who cares?
Just people I think there were a bunch of his friends or people he
Yeah.
knew. I think
Mike Mushak, the guitar player from Stained,
Really? Wow.
is and I don't know who the other guys are, but Newstead sings and plays bass.
Oh, he
so-
sings too. Okay, I didn't know that.
so.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
who plays
yeah,
drums.
I liked Rob, but again, I didn't really think he fit, and I do think that he's the best technically bass player that they've ever had. But Cliff was just the best one for that band, definitely. But they didn't drop the ball at all putting Jason in there.
No.
He was the best person to step into that situation. I think he did just fine.
Mhm.
But Ahmed's going to go with Cliff as his favorite.
Yep.
guy. I love how this switched from because now we're really breaking out. Went from best, worst, or not so good to we're picking our favorite ones, which is cool. Fuck it, we switched it up a little bit. So for me, I love Metallica. Trujillo, if that's how you say Robert's name. Incredible bass player. I love him. Suicidal. I think he's one of the best bass players around today. Does he fit Metallica? Not for me. Cliff, love Cliff. I thought Cliff was an innovator. Cliff was the man, but we're split down the middle here, guys. Jason was the friggin' man. I love Jason Newstead. I loved everything about him. I love that he came in. I love the energy. I seen him a shitload of times on that tour for Injustice. And let me tell you, you didn't hear it bass on the record, but boy, did you hear it live. It was insane. Jason, to me, Metallica, Jason Newstead, James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, Kirk Hammett. That's my favorite Metallica lineup. Even though I love Cliff, but that's my favorite Metallica lineup.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's probably what we grew up more. It's what we remember.
I mean,
more.
Cliff,
Yeah,
they did 3 great albums with Cliff, but
oh yeah,
I thought
Classic.
Jason, there was just something about Jason, his stage
It
presence.
was his energy.
he
Yeah.
had great energy.
I mean, Cliff did his thing, but Jason brought it more to life. Jason also sang a little bit.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's Jason. It really, I wish Jason was, I like Robert. I wish Jason was with them. I wish that breakup didn't happen.
Yeah, I feel like he got a roll deal, but
He did. I think
Mike
so.
D, you got to listen to Injustice for Jason. It's the Injustice
great.
for All album with the bass in it. And it's
YouTube, I'm taking it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be fun on YouTube.
I have to check it out.
you'll be
I
like,
just picked up Injustice on vinyl too the other day.
yeah, check this out. You're like, whoa.
yeah,
Mike
I
D.
didn't know he was doing that.
Dude, I mean, I'm at a total loss at this point. I mean, am I going to have to go with like fucking Genesis or something?
why not?
I mean, yeah. I mean, why not? I mean,
I had them on my reserves.
yeah. Well, there we go. We're going with Genesis, and man, I tried to listen to some of their old stuff. I know people. Oh, you got to listen to their old stuff. It's great, and I'm a fan of old prog music and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I thought you would be into it.
I cannot get into this.
It
at
was
all,
too weird
man.
for Mike. That's
And
great.
Wow.
I don't know. I didn't like it. It just did nothing for me. And there was probably a point in my life when I would have heard Phil Collins and said, "This really does nothing for me too." But looking back at it now, as I'm much older, you know what? It's really not that bad.
Right,
It's
right.
I'm at that point where I can appreciate old man music now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Damo.
Yeah, this is almost like in the same category as Pink Floyd, where like, the original band was just fucking out there, man. So and Genesis was just like weird, man, weird like prog theatrical stuff, and I don't know, man. I actually have a couple of the records, and it's just too out there for me. But I do like the stuff with Phil Collins, and I thought that was cool. He came out front as a from being a drummer in the band to being the front guy, and I like that stuff. I almost like yeah. And another one is almost like Van Halen, where they became like totally different band, almost like way more commercial, But yeah, I'm going with Phil Collins, I guess.
Ahmed.
Phil Collins. I don't really have much to say about Peter Gabriel's years in Genesis. I know that Genesis they were pretty large in the mid 80s.
Mm-hmm.
That Invisible Touch album, those songs were all over the place.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to. It was like Phil Collins' music and Genesis was like kind of blurred together almost.
Yeah.
Because right after it, he had that No Jacket Required album like right before Invisible Touch, I think.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So he was on the charts for that and the Genesis album.
Yeah.
Very
crazy.
Yeah.
So Phil Collins is the man. I mean, who doesn't, every time you hear In the Air Tonight, air drums to that. That's like the ultimate air drum song.
Yeah.
I just saw he's not doing too well, man. I saw this like they were showing like he's like propped up on a chair now in concert. So
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
shame. Yeah,
I mean, I think every performer, deserves the right to go out there and do it till they can't anymore. But man, it's pretty painful to watch him up there.
I didn't hear what it sounded like, but he didn't even look like himself. It didn't look nothing like.
He basically looks like a Jim Henson Muppet.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like just like kind of like like Weekend at Bernie's almost,
Like almost like by the way they described him in the article, it was like he's pretty much on his last leg.
Yeah, well, it's these fucking idiot guys, man. They keep on getting they're multi-millionaires, and they keep on getting married, and then their wives divorce them and take all their money, so they got to go out and tour and try to recoup some of that, which is what happened with him.
Well,
or some people this is what they do,
Yeah.
Who would have thought on Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes you would have a 4-way agreement on Phil Collins? I'm in with the Phil Collins. I'll take Phil Collins over the Peter Gabriel stuff any day. The Peter Gabriel stuff is just too fucking weird. Phil Collins stuff is at least memorable.
Let me say I do like Peter Gabriel. I like Shock the Monkey, and I like Sledgehammer and Big Time.
Them two songs.
Red Rain, great song.
Yeah,
I like the fact that he was weird. I like that. I just don't have anything to compare to. I just don't. I'm not familiar. If you could throw out a song that he sang that was big while he was in Genesis, maybe
probably not. I don't think they're.
Yeah, they weren't like hit laden band, at that point. They weren't commercial,
It was like a more like art music.
Art.
Yep. So I got one for you guys, and I want to make it a little bit bigger than just what we were doing. I want to take Guns N' Roses. And I'm going to say 2 parts here. I want to say Gilby Clarke replacing Izzy Stradlin, and why do we need all these people in Guns N' Roses? So, with that being said, Izzy Stradlin is unreplaceable as far as like a writer and stuff goes. I think he did so much for that band. So I would say Gilby, good player. I'll take Izzy Stradlin any day. And as far as the Dizzy Reeds and all that, they should have just been guys on stage with them. It should have been the core band, and then the players get credit, but they shouldn't have been the band. That's my feeling on that. What do you think, Ahmed?
Kind of like how the Stones do it.
Yeah,
like you got the core band, and then you have like the background singers in one corner, and keyboard player
for the live stuff. Exactly, Ahmed. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm with you. I did not like the GNRO, Guns N' Roses Orchestra. I thought it just became too much. Just did not need
That's
all
good.
that, but Izzy Stradlin was my dude. I thought he was cool.
Yep.
I like the Appetite's probably my favorite Guns N' Roses album.
Definitely.
I like the Use Your Illusion stuff and all that, but yeah, you just can't beat the original 5-piece raw.
I like that they took the shot, and all their stuff sounds more epic now, which is fine because you got to grow. But at the same time, it was so street level when it first came out. It was so gritty and street level. It lost that to the artistic point.
And I hate that, and I don't want to be like, no, I don't want you to be creative, because I'm not one of those people that really expects artists to make the same album twice.
Right.
I mean, I like a difference in the album. Once I have it, I can go back and listen to it anytime I want. So I don't need you to make the same album for me.
Right.
But at the same time, yeah, I would have preferred to have more of that. And there are some of those songs like that on Use Your Illusion. 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just like that side of Guns N' Roses the best.
Yeah, it got too big for him. I mean, I still love it, but it got too big. Maybe it went too Stonesy or something. I don't know.
I got too Queenie.
Or Queenie. Yeah,
like,
there you go.
Like how Queen became, too much like Pomp and Circumstance. But which I liked it. I still liked it, but it was like a different band.
So what's your thoughts with the Gene Art as a whole? There, Gilby, Izzy.
No, definitely Izzy. He's like the unsung hero of that band.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody gives Slash credit as a guitar player, but Izzy's really the guy, who's like the focal songwriter. He molded the image in the early days. He was always into the cool shit, the quiet one. I always thought he looked cool. So he just had like a cool vibe to him. And
just chill.
Yeah. The guy they got now reminds me of Izzy a little bit, look wise. Like when you first look at him, you think it's Izzy. Yeah,
that dude's a great player, man.
Robert, what's his last name?
Yeah, it tells his last name.
Begins with an F.
Technically, he's another one. He's like Robert Trujillo. Like he's technically probably like the best player that they've ever had. And he's over there playing Izzy Stradlin with him. He could outplay Slash technically.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. He's the Derek Smalls of Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. I mean, the extra members on stage, I don't really mind too much. I mean, it's pretty cool of Axl to do that, to throw them guys up here, but it's like you don't
pretty tied up.
I think it's cool to have him up there. I just don't think they should be band members. It ain't Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe on paper band members, but we know they're just hired guns. Are probably
right.
That's what they should have called the band. Axl and his hired guns.
And what was the deal with? And he's great. The drummer they got now, Frank, is awesome. But what was the deal with not bringing back Matt?
Well, because here's the deal. People don't realize it wasn't a reunion. The band never broke up. The Axl didn't fire the band and bring guys back. The bass player quit, so Stinson, he quit, so he brought Duff in. So Duff was actually, I don't know if you remember, Duff was actually playing with DJ Ashby and what's his name, Bumblefoot. He was playing in that lineup for a little bit.
Yeah,
and then DJ Ashby quit. So
I like Bumblefoot.
Yeah, no, he's great. But
he didn't fit the band either.
DJ Ashby left and left the slot for Slash. So I mean, why would they fire the drummer? They actually did try to get work in Steve and do like a dual thing, but he wound up. I don't know. He had to get back surgery, and I think more problems started to arise. But I wouldn't bring him back. He's a junkie. He's a track record. They're going to bring him back to play stadiums in front of.
No, I mean, I wouldn't mind if they brought Matt back, but like you said, it makes sense.
He hates Matt. Yeah, he doesn't get along with Matt.
But it makes sense that Frank was there that whole time. Frank was there for a long time.
Yeah.
So it made sense. Like you said, he didn't. it ain't like he fired anybody. It was still Guns N' Roses the whole
Right.
time. Just Slash and Duff kind of came back into the fold. That's pretty much what
because
happened.
people quit the band at the time, and they just brought that girl keyboard player. Well, she just does like
she just
backing
does
vocals
keyboard, yeah.
and she does like all the sampled shit.
But I think if Izzy did want to pop back in, they would probably just add him in as another guitar. I don't think they would get rid of anybody. I think they would just add Izzy in, you know, like the Pat Smear, show up when you want to show up kind of deal, you know?
yeah.
What happened with him and Matt before we change subjects?
Matt talked a lot of crap, I think.
Yeah. Axel like can't stand the guy. And then I think there's some bad blood between like him and Duff and Slash because of it's actually in Matt Storm's book where he kind of talks about it. Like he was trying to when the rumors of the reunion were going on, Matt would call him up and ask, and they would like kind of avoid him and shit like that. And then he confronted them about it, and they kind of like bitched out about it, like kind of denying stuff, or it was something like that. So there was like a lot of animosity.
I got to check that out, that book. Mike D, Guns N' Roses.
To me, it's the original lineup and on Appetite. And I mean, I'll even go as far as the Illusions, but man, Chinese Democracy, you wait 20 years for that piece of fucking garbage. I don't care who
I like the
musicians
record
are on that fucking album. It should have they should have called it a different name besides Guns N' Roses. You know, Axl could have got away with using his name.
Yeah.
But you ruined the fucking legend of Guns N' Roses with that album. It's fucking terrible.
I like it.
Even though I like Buckethead, I like Bumblefoot. That doesn't save. Nothing saves that era. Nothing. It's
but I gotta say, the worst member of Guns N' Roses was Buckethead. He did not fit. Just didn't fit. Did he fit? He didn't fit.
I like
Guns
him
N'
on that
Roses.
strange level, but no, he didn't.
It made no sense to have a guy like that, and great player, but it made no sense of having a guy like that in Guns N' Roses.
But Bumblefoot needed the exposure, and that was good for him, I guess, because he's been around for a while and he's a really, really good guitarist. I was on the Bumblefoot bandwagon before he even joined Guns N' Roses.
Bumblefoot's good. He's great. I mean, actually, you introduced him to me. I mean, yeah, he's great. Bumblefoot's great, but as far as the Buckethead, nah.
We got a chance to play Guns N' Roses song with him. Remember?
With Bumblefoot?
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really? Wow.
Which we did. Was it Night Train?
No, it's so easy.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool. I didn't know about that.
We did Calling Dr. Love and Detroit Rock City with him.
Well, he did a couple songs with Bumblefoot.
Cool.
Yeah. We
I think he's from Jersey, if I'm right.
I think like upstate New Jersey. Yeah. Oh, we also did we do a whole lot of Rosie? I think.
Yeah.
So we did like four
songs.
Right.
Wow. You guys opened up for him at one point, right? And then
he was cool, man. He was cool as shit.
Nice.
Tried his hot sauce. It's crazy. His hot sauce is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Still got that stuff, man. It's the hottest shit ever. 6.5 million Scovilles of heat.
Scovilles.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, man. You literally, if you have like more than 2 drops, you're going to the hospital. You're going to urgent care. I mean, it's bad.
Jesus.
Really
I'm gonna test this out.
So in the long run, though, for Guns N' Roses, we all think the original Guns N' Roses. We're gonna go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt. You got to be on crack if you think otherwise.
Yeah. Ahmed, next pick.
Can I use my kiss now?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's break down all the changes in Kiss.
Yeah. Because I can't think of anything else really.
That's all right. So we'll break it all down the Kiss. So let's start off with the first one, Ahmed. Eric Carr replaces Peter Criss.
Eric Carr.
Eric Carr all day.
Eric Carr all day, but at the same time, for what Peter Criss did from 73 to 19, I guess 77, if you want to be technically correct, was the best. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if Eric Carr did the earlier years. I think that the baton got passed at the right time.
Right.
But overall, since we're speaking drummers, Eric Singer's the best.
Yep.
The best replacement for Kiss because he can do both of them well.
Yeah.
So Eric Singer's the drummer you would pick. Okay, as far as guitar players. Now we got Ace to Vinny.
Ace.
Okay, so you pick
Vinny
Ace
was
out.
just a really good songwriter. I think they should have kept him in the mix as a ghost writer.
Yeah.
But just had someone else in the band.
Okay,
He
so
should have
now,
just stayed.
now you would have Vinny, right? We're going to skip Mark St. John. You're going to have Vinny to Bruce.
Bruce.
Okay, how about
Bruce
Bruce to Tommy?
Vinny was just, he was too much for Kiss. It's way too much.
Yeah.
He was just way too much for Kiss. You know, Bruce could take the orders and, you know, still be himself, and it'll come out the way it should at that time. You know, he could make it sound the way it needed to, current and all that stuff. So yeah, Bruce. But I think they should have definitely kept writing with Vinny. If they wouldn't have added him in the band, I think probably him and Paul would have had more of a healthy relationship.
Like a Desmond Child or something.
Yep.
Putting him in the band just made it worse. It's, you know, Kiss should have just kept him as a, you know,
an outside writer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how about Bruce to Tommy Thayer?
Bruce. Nothing against Tommy. He just, you know, is kind of a stale ace. And that's no diss to Tommy.
Yeah.
You know, I like Tommy. I think he gets a lot of shit. But putting on that makeup just made it worse for him. Like if they were to be unmasked 24/7, he would, you know, have found his audience.
You know what's weird? Yeah. The Peter Criss makeup on Eric Singer doesn't bother me as much as the Tommy Thayer makeup on Ace Frehley. I don't know why, but
I feel the other way around.
Do you? Wow.
Yeah, it's vice versa for
it's
me.
the same for me. It hits the same. Like when you see someone else wearing that, it just it doesn't shine through, right? It definitely
it looks like Menudo, a little Menudo-ish, you know.
It's a tribute band. It definitely looks tribute band, but you know, because of the fact that, you know, Eric Singer's been there before, I don't really consider it that for him, you know, or Tommy Thayer, really.
I think they should have just left the makeup off after the reunion.
Just left the makeup after the reunion tour or Psycho Circus or whatever. Yeah, it definitely should have come off. I thought that's exactly what was going to happen. I didn't think there was going to be a Psycho Circus. I thought it was just going to be one tour. Then we're going to go back, take the makeup off, and then move forward.
Go back,
Yep. Damo. We're going to start with drummers. Peter Criss, Eric Carr, Eric Singer.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything Ahmed said. All those decisions, everything. I mean, Eric Carr definitely came at the right time. I can't see him being in the band in like 75 or something. Or Peter Criss was the perfect guy for that time. Eric Carr came at the right time. Right at the 80s, Peter Criss wouldn't have lasted no
way
in the 80s. No, he would have. No way.
He would have broke his arms on Creatures of
Dude, I can't even. They would be like Foghat or something in the 80s if Peter and Ace were still in the band. Maybe not so much. I don't know, but
it wouldn't.
So, I would definitely pick Eric Carr. I'd pick Ace over Vinny. I didn't think Vinny was a good fit. He just kind of looked like I don't know. Again, man, he just didn't fit. His personality wasn't. I don't know. Great songwriter. I would have kept him. Same thing. Kept him in as like an outside writer, like Desmond Child. And Bruce, I think I think Bruce is just like the perfect replacement guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a good soldier. Never complained. You know, always did his thing, had his own personality, put his own spin on the guitar solos, but still stayed true to the, to Ace. You respected Ace and all that. And Tommy Thayer, I kind of feel, yeah, man, it's like if he was like playing as him and not wearing the Ace makeup, I'd probably feel differently. But, I don't hate the guy, but I don't know, man. I don't think he gets a chance to be himself.
Right. No,
he's got Gary Sharon's disease.
Yeah.
That sounds Sharon's disease.
He's a Sharon's
disease. Yeah. Mike D.
Like Crohn's disease or something.
I'm sitting in an advanced calculus class right now while I only know basic math.
Right.
So, I'm going with the original lineup. I can't go any further than that.
Okay, that's fair enough.
So
For me, I think Ahmed really hit it on the head with all the picks. So I'm pretty much going to agree with everything Ahmed said. My only gripe with Kiss is that I'm glad they did the reunion. I thought it was cool, but I was really, and I usually don't get bummed out. I was really bummed out that Bruce was gone. I thought he really.
I was too. Yeah.
I was like, I feel like he really got screwed. Even so, when I first got on Twitter, it was around the time Kiss was going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, I never used Twitter before, and somebody showed me how to use it, and I just decided that my first Twitter thing I was going to reply to was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when Kiss was getting ready to go in, and I put something to put at Gene Simmons. I put, I think it sucks. I think Bruce deserves to be in, and Gene actually got back to me. So that was my first tweet. He actually replied. I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. Gene put absolutely. He's like, I agree. He put. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was my first tweet. It was last time I talked to Gene. But besides that,
Gene loved it.
Gene loved it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think all the replacements, that Ahmed went through, I agree 100% with him. I think Tommy does get a raw deal. I don't think they really don't need to wear the makeup now. I think they wear the makeup now so they don't look old. I really think that's the reason why.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
But then again, they would do the stuff on the cruise unmasked.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's so weird.
I just don't understand in this day and age of multiple band members being in two bands or more, why they couldn't have two versions of Kiss existing at the same time.
Yeah,
if they want to put the makeup on,
they
want to put the makeup on, they can get the original four together.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the time, if those four start acting up, why don't they just put together the studio Kiss band, which is Eric Singer, and I even think they could get away with having Bruce and Tommy in the same. Like, it wouldn't have to be a 4-piece Kiss. It could be, they could
like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Well, it's
have it play theaters and clubs.
Yeah, that would.
I think the arena thing. I think bring the original four in.
As far as the songs and the writing and the albums and all that stuff go, I think the initial era Kiss was great, and as they moved forward, once that Psycho Circus came in and all that, when they didn't really, it really wasn't Kiss on it. I kind of wanted to see where the Revenge lineup would have went. I mean, we got Carnival Souls, but I want to see if that was actually promoted and pushed and what the next album would have been. Because I thought they were really, once they hit Revenge, I thought they were really gaining something. I mean, when that album came out, I was blown away when that album first came out. And I always liked the stuff, but
I was going to say that's interesting because even when the Carnival of Souls came out and everybody thought it was just like, they shouldn't be trying to sound like Alice in Chains or whatever like that, it would have been interesting to see what the next album would have been like.
I think it would have been like pretty much what came out. Sort of like,
another Alice in Chains type.
No. I think it would have been more in line with Psycho Circus. I think it would have, but probably better.
I think it would have been better.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. But definitely like in that style.
Yeah. That would have been cool. Psycho Circus with Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick without makeup.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like the Psycho Circus record. There's a couple songs I do like off the record, but the song Psycho Circus itself, I think, is amazing. I think that's
one of my favorite Kiss songs.
It's a great,
it's a great one. I think Within is really good. Even like I like Raise Your Glasses. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I like that.
That
song.
I'm sure I mentioned this before, but Big Sal, I remember when the record first came out, I was still at work, so I picked up after work, but Sal already picked it up. And Sal, who's silly sometimes, was quoting some of the lyrics. I'm like, get the fuck out. They ain't the lyrics. I went home. I looked at the lyrics. I was like, oh my God. And it's no different than I guess Shout It Out Loud would be back in the day, but it's different. I was younger. Reading these lyrics now, I'm like, Raise Our Glasses, we're the champions. I'm like, come on, man, stop. But then you had a song like Psycho Circus, it was great. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kiss gets that pass because it's, you're not, I never really got deep with their lyrics. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. They weren't really like a lyric band for me.
Nah,
But I just, I went when you would listen to like an Ace song or like Rocket Ride or whatever. I really didn't think that it was about what it was about. I thought that was just Ace playing off his character or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of got into that vibe with it. I really wasn't looking to be moved lyrically. If I liked the song riff wise or whatever, if it had a hook or whatever, that's where I was.
They're basically just a bunch of words that rhyme that are fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no meaning to any of those songs.
Yeah, get up and get your grandma out of here.
Yeah.
Pick up old Jimmy's
Right.
working hard to see what the hell.
I mean, like, I don't think any of those songs have ever been written from like past experiences. They're just basically like made up fantasy stories.
But you know what's crazy? The lyrics on Carnival Souls are pretty damn good. They seem like more meaning. I guess they were writing more serious, All right, guys. So I know we were going to probably wrap up on Kiss, but I think I got the best one to wrap up the show with. And I think we're all going to be in agreement here. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Oh, geez. Mush mouth. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Bringing in Dave Navarro. It absolutely did not work. That's my opinion on that. Ahmed?
Wait, what did you say?
Dave Navarro joining Red Hot Chili Peppers.
What's the guitar player's name before him?
John.
John.
I can't say his name.
him.
He's great.
Yeah.
That guy's on. I can't replace him that bad.
No, you can't. No.
He's too good for that band, in my opinion.
He's a great player. But Navarro, who's an excellent guitar player, just didn't work. It just didn't work.
Nah, I think it's one of those things where like it probably made a lot of sense on paper.
Yeah.
But it just didn't register, I don't think.
Yeah. Only one guy without a shirt in the band. That's a rule. You can only have one guy without a shirt on stage.
Shit, they all just wore underwear at one point.
Oh, jeez.
Or light bulbs.
or socks on cocks.
Light bulbs.
It was kind of like remember when there was those rumors that Zach was playing
Guns N' Roses
with Guns N' Roses?
Yeah,
sort of like that, where it's like, oh man, I guess that could be cool. I mean, I imagine if it really did become a thing, it probably would have sucked.
Right.
But probably the same result as that they had.
Yep. Mike D.
Yeah, it's horrible, man. I couldn't get into that album at all with Dave Navarro. And I like Jane's Addiction a lot. Those first two albums they put out were incredible. Him with that band, it's just not a fit. I don't know. He's sort of like, these guys are kind of gritty and this and that. And this guy's over there with his makeup on and stuff. Like, I don't know. It just wasn't a good fit. And Navarro was great. It's just not with them.
Yeah.
I like that Aeroplane song.
That was okay.
That was
okay.
That was good. Yeah.
That was okay.
But the other stuff on that, not so good.
No. I mean, you're coming off of what was the record before that? That wasn't the
Blood
big one, was
Sugar.
it?
Yeah.
You can't replace.
And Mother
that's the
Milk was
record.
before that, which is another big one. I think.
They're the two big records, I would think. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to once you hit that pinnacle, it's hard to Blood Sugar Sex Magic, every song was good. I mean, there was a lot of songs.
What was it? The Uplift Party Mofo Jam or whatever. That wasn't bad.
That was
but
yeah. So mixtape
for me, it's Mother's Milk and Blood Sugar.
mixtapes and tasty cakes. We'll see you guys next week.